Hello everyone. To start off this new year, I wanted to go over 5 tips that could be useful in keeping your Godot project organized. Organization isn't something that you're going to see as you're playing the game because it's all related to everything underneath the surface. It's something that you're going to have to work with every single day, so to keep things nice and organized, to keep things clean, is going to be helpful in the long run as your project spans multiple weeks, multiple months, multiple years, maybe even. You want to keep it as easy as possible for yourself. So let's get into it. And the very first thing I want to go over is going to be folder coloring. So right over here, inside the Godot editor, you can see I have a bunch of folders. You guys probably have your own file structure as well. The nicest thing is if you have a folder right here, you right click it, you can set the folder color to something that you like. The reason why this is useful is because at a quick glance you can figure out and navigate your file structure a lot easier. For the second tip, it's going to be favorite nodes. Inside Godot, oftentimes you're going to be creating a bunch of these scenes right here, and what ends up happening is as you build out your scene tree, you're going to be adding nodes using Control A or using this button right here. So if you do this, you get to type into the search bar or you can manually look for nodes that you want. But one of the nicest things is if you have a node that you often use, such as this control node right here, you can hit this star button to favorite or unfavorite your item, your node. And if you favorite your node, then it's going to show up in your favorites list, and now you can simply just click and hit create. Just like that. It's going to save you a lot of time in the long run, as you have to constantly add nodes into your scene. You're constantly pressing, you're constantly looking, and over time, maybe the nodes that you're going to be using a lot changes, but it's as simple as just clicking and then unstarring, unfavoriting the node that you don't use so much anymore, and then favoriting the nodes that you actually do use a lot. And that's why it's so useful to use at any stage of your game development. The third tip is going to be how you name your nodes, how you name your scripts. Ultimately, I'm not here to tell you how to name your nodes. I'm not telling you to use a particular convention. I'm just saying that you want to be consistent with how you name your nodes, because this overall is going to improve the readability of your project, and in the long run, it's going to be easier to navigate. Taking a look at the scene that I have right here, the inside house screen, at least for me personally, is I like using Godot's out-of-the-box format. For nodes, this is going to be Pascal case, jargon for just capital, for each word that you have. And so you're going to notice this when I create a new node, texture rect, it already has this Pascal case built in. So it looks like this, right? I'm just keeping it consistent with this naming convention for everything that I do as well. This also applies to scripts. So if you go to your script, then you're going to notice that the naming convention is different for the scripts. And so what I end up doing is, say this is the tile map and I'm going to add a script to it, you're going to notice that Godot automatically names it like this, from this convention to this one right here. This is called snake case, I believe. Change it if you want, but I like to keep it consistent. And so since this is what Godot is using, I like to name all of my scripts like that if possible. For the next step, it's going to be outlining your functions. You might think just commenting, but no, this is a little bit of creating a guide for yourself as you write a function. So I've got this animation right here that when I was thinking about how I wanted to make something like this, I had to get this idea out bit by bit. And so let's say I use this, I want to call it function activate, right? So maybe it's like, so I go down here to my script and I go function activate, cannot spell activate 2. Returns void, right? Because we're statically typing. And then I pass. And I've got this idea in my head, but I don't really know what I'm going to do for my actual function itself, right? So I'll break it down line by line and be like, yo, first I want to instantiate the node, then I want to create the animation or play animation, then I want to hide the node /QFree. And there's a lot more steps into here. Maybe I have to connect signals. next signals to do damage, so on and so forth. But by giving myself this outline, as you guys can see, then I can focus on working on these individual chunks. I work on the part where I have to do the instantiation, then I do the signals, then I play the animation, then I hide it, and then it's just so much easier to follow for me. So this is something that I see a lot of people doing as well, that you could definitely start doing. And sometimes this can double as comments, but there can be cases where you might not want to comment this as part of your description, which means you can either just delete it or change it whenever that time comes. Also, as a side tip, if you have nodes that are all the same that you wanted to change a property of, you can select all of them I pressed shift. I had the first one selected, I pressed and hold shift, and then I click this bottom one right here. All of these are selected, and if I change the damage to 4, it individually changes all of them to 4 as well. So you might not ever have to do this because you might be like Pigeon, you might not have children like these statically placed, but in the case where you have nodes that are all the same, that have the same property, whether it's exported or part of the class or built in, you can select all your nodes and you can change the property as well, and they will all change. And for the final tip, since you guys already know that you can use the middle mouse button to close tabs for your scenes, or the middle mouse button to close scripts, I wanted to talk about reusable scenes. The animation that I showed earlier might be a good example for this because, as you can see, these earth spikes are all instantiated scenes that I create by using this button right here or Ctrl-Shift-A. So this earth spike and this earth spike, I can't access the children, but if I click this, it'll open up the scene. And inside this earth spike scene, it has the animated sprite, it has another animated sprite, it's got a texture rect and an animation player associated with it. My thought process is I want to create an attack that has multiple spikes, but all the spikes are the same. So what I'm going to do is that spike is something that I want to reuse. So it's going to be populated either through code or statically like this. And then the parent can control the timing. Finding ways to use reusable components like this more and more can be super beneficial in simplifying the architecture of your game. There is no fast and easy way to figure this out. A little bit of planning goes a long way, but as you're working through stuff, maybe you'll be like, hey, this HP bar is a system that I'd like in multiple places. And so then you might be thinking, oh, maybe it's a scene that I can use in multiple spots. And so then you'd be like, hey, does my earthquake horizontal require a health bar? And then I populate a health bar into my earthquake scene because that's what I think it needs. You know what I mean? Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully that was a pretty short, concise video showing you guys how you can organize your project a little bit more than before. Again, it's personal preference. Everyone's got their own way of doing things. So use the tips that are helpful to you. Otherwise, you just gotta get the work done kind of deal. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to support Wishlist Cauldron Craft, that would mean so much to me. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.